Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Wednesday, and you are happily tuned in to the I'm Making It Happen radio show with acceptingly yours, Nykole Tyson. Thank you for tuning in, and I appreciate the confirmation text. And I'm Making It Happen. We discuss how we can make it happen in our minds, bodies, finances, business, and culture, despite the inevitable and not so pleasant challenges, and that is every single day, right? I don't know about you, but I do. And so, and that's ultimately to allow us to realize that we have the ability to shift our mindsets and realize that we have the power to improve and maneuver every and any situation. No matter how detrimental it may feel in the moment, we can still make it happen. All right. And so, of course, I want to say good morning to everyone in USVI. You're going to have me today. I had a guest plan today. However, they were unable to be present. But I always love to connect with you, and I did start a conversation last week that I did not get to continue. So we will do that today, and I join you to be involved in the conversation. So it's a dialogue instead of a monologue. All right, but of course I will do the monologue if I have to, but would always welcome your input. So as I said, good morning, specifically to my VI people, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, the British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, and anywhere you are in the Caribbean. Thanks so much for tuning in, as well as all those listening live on reefbroadcasting.com from the east to west coast. We do appreciate you. And for those watching, and anywhere you are in the world, because we have other people tuned in different places. And anyone watching live on Facebook, I appreciate you. Good morning and welcome. You can view the studio and myself live on I'm Making It Happen on Facebook. All right. Please do like and share. And of course, like the page, I'm Making It Happen. We're also found, I never plug my platform. So I'm going to start doing that. All right. So my platforms, you can find me on YouTube. We have many videos on YouTube, as well as Instagram. And of course, as I mentioned, Facebook. Our website is imakingithappen.com. All right. So check out that. We have a lot of different information on all these different platforms. And for those who say, I can never get in contact with you, I have so many platforms, there's no way you can't find me. So definitely check out those platforms and you will always be able to make connection. All right, I do reply. So as I mentioned from last week, there was a conversation that I wanted to have regarding, it's Black History Month, right? But we always talk about history, the past. I'm going to talk more about our history, what we're creating moving forward. All right. So present into the future and how we are creating our own history. We're not looking at the past. Yeah, we need to know the past to move forward, to know where we come from. And I'm going to talk about that too, because I don't feel that we talk enough about where we come from to our children. And that's probably where the breakdown is. So actually, this is something that just came to my mind. So please bear with me if I'm talking fast. But before I get into my conversation and before I lose my thought, I do want to mention about us continuing our legacy, continuing the conversation about our story, where we came from. And your story as an individual parent, as a family head, be it a mom or dad, the grandparents, aunts, uncles, great aunts, and such, right? We all have our individual stories. And I believe it is very important for us to share those stories with for us to share those stories with our family members, with the youth, be it. So just talking about the past, about enslavement, right? About talking about our present day, where our family arrived, how we got to where we are, where we see our children going, what we want to see achieved. I think it's very important that you have these conversations to say, this is where I started. My grandparents, I know the history of where they came from, how they settled here, how my dad was born here, how my mom came to the island, how my parents met, just like how my great aunts achieved their properties and different things like that, who is who and where we expect you to be. And so this is what I think that as individuals, we should do that. And then as a community, we should do that. And then as a ethnicity, we should do that. Because if you look at the other ethnicities, of course they do that. They never forget. It's never, let me see. Sometimes I hear people speak, and I've had this conversation with individuals before about teaching about business. A lot of the ethnicities, Asians, Jews, that's religion, but Asians, And and the like, and please forgive me if I say something incorrect, if it's not intentional. They teach their children internally, right? um they teach their children internally. Is they don't have to go to school for that. I feel like within our own ethnicity in the Caribbean culture, I don't think that's something that we perpetuate and continue to have these conversations to continue our legacy. I look at different the islands right now in Tortola, for our connecting cousins over there, island cousins, that even the continuation of their legacy with the businesses and things like that is not something that I've heard that's an issue. Continuing that, so having the conversations of why it's important, and the importance and the strength of that. So hopefully you're able to follow what I'm saying, but it's important we tell the story. I watched a movie called The Butler, and if you watch that movie, The Butler, um, you will see that there was a disconnect between the butler, where he came from, and his own children, his own son, and that because the reason why there was a disconnect was because the father did not share the details of that the father actually came from being enslaved, and he had risen so fast, so much, that he became the butler to the president, right? So how does your child even understand that? And he kind of wanted to get away from his past and cheering up his child in a different way that he didn't experience. But there's also a detriment to his child, because he ultimately went back to the same place where his father came from to try to fight, and didn't understand where he came from. So it's really important, I think, that I feel that we should continue speaking about telling our stories to our children, and let them know importance, not taking it for granted. I feel like that's a big issue here, in the Caribbean, as well as even in the African American culture as well. Just, and then as a whole, people trying to make us forget about what happened, and then building on it. Nobody forgets about the Holocaust. No, and nobody ever forgets of those things. So we should not forget about the enslavement of Africans, not Africans that was slaves, the enslavement of Africans, that was dispersed throughout the world, and how we were able to what's the word, emancipate ourselves here in the Caribbean, and then also thrive, right? And so that's one, and not focusing just on that, but then also all the other achievements. So moving forward from there, so that's my take on the history. It is important that we talk about where we come from in regards to all the past, like our ancestors and what they had to deal with to come through the Caribbean, from Africa to the Caribbean to the Americas, and then onward. Let's see, we have a call. I'll take it. Let's see. This phone going. Okay, you're on the air. Thanks for calling. Good morning.
Pleasant good morning.
Good morning.
I just loved your energy.
Thanks.
I was speaking about that same topic earlier, paying tribute to our ancestors who fought for freedom from the African bondage by the Danish people here in the territory. Mm-hmm. And we need to recognize what they give the ultimate sacrifice, okay? Their blood, their sweat, and their tears. Mm-hmm. People and as this is Black history, African history is incorporated in that, because most of the people here living in the U.S. Virgin Islands, well, I don't know if most, let's say many of us living in the U.S. Virgin Islands, we can trace our ancestry to Africa. Our ancestors were enslaved by the Danish, and we need to recognize people like Boudreaux, General Boudreaux, John Gottlieb, because they don't just, when I say they, I'm talking about oppressors, the powers to be. They don't just hand you your rights like that, You always have to fight. You have to fight for your rights, and you never give up. So to not participate in the election process, in my opinion, is a surrender. We could make a difference. Like you said, make it happen. You can't make it happen if you're not part of the solution. If you continue to be part of the problem, promoting distrust in our election system and carrying these conspiracy theories, myths, facts can be verified. Nobody has presented any evidence of no election being rigged here in the territory. So we need to have some faith and trust in our own people, because the government is being run by our people.
Yeah.
People that look like you and me. That's the one that are our governors, our senators. And I believe they have our best interest in heart. But we as part of the community, we got to do our part and make a contribution. It's so disturbing to see public works out there cutting grass, picking up the debris and the litter. And the next day you see people throwing beer bottles out and plastic containers. So the government have to pick up after you. I mean, we need to, all of us, we need to do our best to promote our Virgin Islands pride and self-pride. And this is our home. And if we call in the Virgin Islands or United States our permanent home, in my book, we're Virgin Islander. I don't see no issue with identification. You're here, you're a resident, and we all should be seeking to make it a better place. And our, everybody can be an elected official, but I believe we have a purpose for being here, and we should all make a contribution in some way or the other to help keep this place clean.
Of course, it's not about the people. It's not about always the government. We are the government. And one thing I didn't get to say last week about that is that a lot of people come on the radio, right, and say, "Oh, the government this and the government that," like it's something outside of us. Your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your auntie, or somebody, your friend. Somebody works in the government. It is the biggest employer, the largest employer in the territory. And so ask your sister, brother, uncle, cousin, auntie, nephew, friend, did you do your job today? How did you move the territory forward with your position? Or did you just go and collect the check? All right. And so that's the conversations, real conversations that I want to be hearing, because a lot of people that go to work and they just collect a check and they know it and you know who you are. I was told when I was in government that when I was in an executive position that you're going to come and you're going to go. All executives do. We're going to stay here. So people that are retiring for 30 years in the government, what have you done to propel the territory forward? All right. And so these are conversations that really need to be heard, and then, addressed. So yeah, the government is us. And we need to hold people really responsible that have long-term positions in government, and you don't see any movement because it's not just one governor, it's not just one senators. They got people in positions that stay there longer than the governors and the senators, but you have a role to complete. And are you completing that role effectively for the money that you're getting paid?
Right. Well, we're the ones to make the government because we have what is known as a representative democracy. We elect the governors, they don't elect themselves.
Right. And so we're talking about Black history. I don't want to focus on
family and all that.
Right. So I don't want to focus on the politics. But I did hear you in regards to the voting machines and people, definitely I heard you with that. There's nothing no merit to that. But yes, we the elected officials is one thing, but we have getting away from just elected officials. We have people, thousands of people that could have jobs, hundreds of people that maintain their jobs long before and long after elected officials. What are you doing in your capacity as that person in your position? On other countries,
I like to focus on the politics either. My focus is on civic education, and whether we like it or not, like I said, they don't put themselves in office, so it takes us, the electorate, to make a decision. So I don't get into the political ideology. I get into the process.
Right.
How it happens. It happens by people going to the polls and voting for them.
I got it. And you want people to vote.
We have to have accountability.
I got it.
Where the accountability comes from, you vet them. You put them in. You don't appreciate what they accomplish. You have a choice. But you don't have to be demeaned for making a choice that somebody else don't agree with.
I agree.
So I don't tell anybody who to vote for, how to vote. I'm just saying use your intelligence, use common sense, vet them for yourself, and participate. That's all I'm promoting.
Got it.
The education. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your call. And I do agree that when people have a position or opinion, they should not be, criticized for it. Go out and vote if you want somebody different, right? So you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Morning. Please turn on your radio.
Yeah. I just listened to the lady and not disrespect to her, but she's talking about us trusting our government officials, our politicians, and if somebody is hurting you, I don't know how you could trust them. If somebody is destroying the island by not being active and by serving the interests of people that don't have to live in this community, how can you trust them? My voice is being heard against Bill 36-0211. And Nykole, I am searching for facts.
Say that bill again? Bill 36 what?
Excuse me?
Can you
36-0211.
And what is that bill about?
That's the bill the governor requested to allow microbreweries and microdistilleries on agricultural land, that's A1 and A2, and residential one, R1 and R2. And I'm going to say it plainly, he requested that bill in favor of Prosperity Farm and Rum Distillery. Prosperity Farm and Rum Distillery have no license for nothing. And I express and stress on it. Nothing they have operating down there except for cane cultivation. How do you trust this government when they're allowing a total illegal activity to happen down there on Prosperity Farm? Okay, this is one of the most egregious, the most shocking, you call it what you want, situation that's happening here on this island. And it's not that it's just there. It's polluting the beach. It's polluting the soil. The thief in Wappa water because they hook up to Wappa well. You know, you have this man come on the radio and say that our zoning laws are stupid. And he tries to play the race card and talk about maybe because he don't look like us or he don't speak like us. And our governor is in support of him and saying, oh, there's nothing hazardous down there. It's a great place. When DPNR is shutting their eyes to Commissioner Oriole and not releasing the report that came about as a result of an inspection on a discharge that happened on October 10th into our beaches that tested for extremely high levels of bacteria. Our commissioner is there defending the farm. Licensing and consumers are not shutting him down. I can't even get through to them to get a report for what happened with the hearing.
Well, just go down to the office.
To shut them down because they can't have no health care and they're not licensed to have a distillery, nor the farmhouse, nor the farm bar. They cannot get a license like that. They have to have this bill passed. If this bill passed, that bill is just for them. They're going to continue the pollution of this island.
So let me ask you, because
How do we trust people? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I understand and I appreciate your passion for the island and for having things be done correctly. I have to do some research because I'm not privy to all of this. Like I know about the farm, Prosperity Farm, and I've seen some activities happening down there, but I'm not aware the owner came on the radio. You're saying he came on the radio?
He was on the radio Saturday morning at 7 a.m. With the
Agriculture?
Commissioner of Agriculture and the Assistant Commissioner of Agriculture.
Well, these are things to look into.
I have the recording. I record the whole thing.
Okay, well, I would love to hear it.
Did not
You send it to me.
Excuse me?
I would love to hear it. And I have another call I would like to take, but I do want to commend you for your passion. That's something that we need for people to be looking into checks and balances of things. I'm not aware of the other things that you mentioned. And so those are some things to look into that I will look into. But DLCA, if you can't get them on the phone, you just go down to the office. And I'm interested to find out, like, what licenses they do have myself. All right, so continue with that, and with that, make your decisions with and how you want to proceed with different, I guess,
Can I
political
just make
entities.
a final statement?
Sure.
There's a town hall meeting February 16th at Rotary West at 6 p.m. where we're going to present the facts with photos of all the waste and pollution that's happening there.
Okay.
Also, that bill would be heard on February 19th, 10 o'clock in the legislature hall. Please, people, show up and show your non-support, your opposition for this bill that's going to cause this distilleries to be in any part of this island. And I like to say they're trying to set this trending in the state, do not apply here because we are a small island with limited resources. And those limited resources are our soil, our water, and our coastal beaches, and that depend on tourism.
Got it. So February 16th, where's it going to be? Rotary West?
Rotary West at 6 o'clock.
6 p.m. I will not be on the island, but I will definitely encourage people to go and find out the information for themselves. Okay. Thanks so much for your passion.
I'll call you back, and if you want, what is it you wanted from me?
Oh, I'd like to listen to the audio. Just call my number and message or text my number at 857.
Hold on. Let me write 857
575.
Wait, this pen got a cover on it.
I'll sit on 857 575 2865.
575
2865. I'll repeat it. Okay.
Breaking up 2865.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Thank you for your call.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. All right. You're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Greetings. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Big man, what's up?
I could hardly hear you.
Okay, I'm here. Go ahead.
Okay, I have a question to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you ran for a government position. Let's say you won't be a senator or you want to be the governor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you run 3 different cycles. In other words, you might have run for senator, 2 years pass, you try to run again, and then you do it a third time. That's a span of 6 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you run for governor, that would be a span of 4 years. How would you feel, right, if you ran 3 different cycles and you receive exactly 1,700 votes each cycle? Tell me how you would feel.
I would think that's an interesting coincidence.
Say that again?
I would think that's an interesting coincidence.
It's just like winning the lottery with the same number 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Coincidence? Ain't no coincidence. That's why the people don't trust the system.
I said an interesting coincidence. I didn't say that was correct.
Straight up,
mm-hmm.
me afraid. You go and you ask, go to the funeral home, and you ask Los James if that didn't happen to him.
Okay.
I challenge anybody, go to Los and ask him. Los ain't afraid to tell her, you know. So how are we supposed to trust this system?
Okay, so Los James,
Los
James. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to leave from that and go to something else with the Kane situation, right?
But before you go to that, I want to say, but Los James, how long ago did he run? And has that been recent?
I can't remember I don't want to give you no wrong information, but I know for sure he run 3 different times.
But that was so long ago, though.
Get the exact number of votes.
Okay, got it.
1,700 votes, 3 different times.
But is that happening now? I don't know. I have to take.
It happened. I'm telling you about what happened in the past.
Okay, in the past, in the
You know what I'm saying?
in the past, like what, 8 years has that happened?
the last time the laws run. I can't remember the exact years. I ain't gonna say no year because I don't want to be wrong. And you got some people, Nykole, I gonna tell you, I don't call them co-conspirers because they call every radio station they could call and they support what going on in this community. Whether it's wrong or it's right, it just depends on who's doing it.
Okay, so I get it.
I got it. Supporting it.
I got it. So let me bring it to this because I really want people to embrace what I've been trying to say every day, every time I'm on the radio. Hold on. Is that I understand the issues people have with voting, with elected officials sometimes and different things. It's not just here. It's in the United States as well. All right, that they say these things. My thing, right? We don't have control over other things, but we have control over these other things I'm mentioning. We have people in government positions that have power to do their jobs and affect the territory. Yes, we elect we elect a governor and a lieutenant governor, and then we elect like 15 senators, right? Those are the only positions that are elected out of hundreds of people that go to work every day on behalf of the Virgin Islands. What are we saying about those people in those positions that stay there for 30 years? How have they improved our territory? That's what I want people to understand. Is not 17 people that have influence alone. We have hundreds of people that get checks from the government that our monies pay for their salaries. And what are they doing? In other countries, they take that job very seriously. Not everybody in these positions that are having these positions are doing that, right? So let's go on to the cane field, the cane thing, and then I have another call I want to take.
Yeah, I have a problem with this glyphosate, they call it. Is actually is a weed killer, right? And this weed killer that get people sick.
Okay.
I go right back to myself in the 8th grade where we had an experiment. In that experiment, the teacher asked us to bring some celery. Everybody bring the celery. Everybody bring the dye, food dye. And we put different colored dyes in each glass. And we put the celery in there to sit in there overnight. When we came back the morning, the celery was the color of the dye that was in the water. Plants absorb whatever is in the soil.
Mm-hmm.
When you use these chemicals that they're using out there, the plants absorb it. So what you get is a plant, you're going to produce that going to have that weed killer in it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
So if you do a chemical analysis, carry it to a lab. Just the other day, one of the newspaper, I think it was Consortium, had a
about the bread.
Right up in there where they tested 8 of the imported breads that come in the island, right?
Yep.
And 6 out of the 8 had the same weed killer in it because they spray instead of weeding. So the plants absorb these chemicals. And that's part of what causing a lot of illness. You see what I'm saying? And that's my issue with the cane thing out there because they're going into the ground, the groundwater, to travel under the ground out to the sea. And eventually, it's going to be killing a lot of the natural environment. It's going to kill the earthworm. I don't want to go too deep into anything else, but let me just cut it off there and tell you, it's not a good thing they're doing when they're spraying this thing.
Well, I agree with that. Well, yeah, we don't want any. We always talk about pesticides and what do you talk? All these other like chemical things we talk about. So yeah, I don't see why we would allow glyphosate if that's something. I have to look into that. You would know more about it. But if that's something that's not good for our plants and then consumption, then I don't think we should allow for that, right? So, so
thank you.
Okay. So thanks for the call. Thank you. All right.
All right. You're welcome.
Hi. All right. Hold on. Okay, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, Nykole.
Morning.
You know, I have been growing up on St. Croix for a very long time, and every time a project comes, in everything there is good and there is bad. Face it.
Yep.
We're eating stuff from America. We're eating stuff from all over. It's good and it's bad. When you go to the doctor says stop eating certain things, we still eat it. Christmas time come, we eating all the fried food with the oil, and we eating and celebrating, drinking rum, we feel good. Every time a project comes to this island to bring work for people to do, there is good and there is bad. We're going to always say no, no, no. Let's have that discussion down at that Rotary location that they say they're going to have this discussion to talk about the good and the bad.
Okay.
But we need to stop saying no to investors. Our children are leaving this island and not coming back. Because when people say, oh, they're poisoning all of us, we importing water from wherever. They're changing dirty water into drinking water and bringing it right here, and we're still drinking it. And it's not killing us. So if we don't take care of our health, when God said, I will teach you how to fish, that means he's telling you, I give you this body, take care of your body. But don't always come on the radio and say, everybody have their opinion. It's no good, it's no good, it's no good. And it's operating right there in Sign Farm. It's operating right there in Diamond. And he's operating right there at the shoreline. The governor already said he sent a legislation down to make some corrections. It's already built and it's already producing, and it's also a tourist attraction and a local attraction. We always have to be down. You don't have no money to invest. Other people have. Yes, there will be laws and policies put in place so they don't disrespect our island and our land. That's why we need the discussion to hear what kind of pesticide they're using.
Okay.
And if DPRNR say you can use that, you can't use it. But let's have the discussion and stop saying, oh, they're killing people. Oh, they're bringing jobs. The refinery has closed. When the refinery was running, it built this whole island. All the people from the Caribbean came and made money and built big homes. What did their children do? Leave the island and leave the homes behind. Because of no jobs. But we always about this thing ain't no good, Bodo walk here. Okay, we're going to put a walk with us, say Bodo walk here. We always saying no to everything that comes to this island, and the children, them don't have nothing to do. So what they turn to drugs and marijuana and guns. But I don't think about that. The ambulance have to come, the detectives have to come, the lawyers have to come, the judge have to come, the court have to come. Then the jail have to come for life. You know how much money we wasting putting people in jail because they don't have a job? I need to wake up. All of your old folks need to go sit down. I was dinosaurs.
Okay. Don't. Wait. No, don't. No name calling. I was up with you with all the other things you was mentioning. Yeah. Okay. Let's just focus on the topic. I do agree with you in regards to, and I've seen it growing up, that projects have come and gone because every time something comes, there's a reason why they can't happen here. So I do agree, and I've seen that. I also agree that the conversation needs to be had in regards to the pros and the cons, and seeing what these pesticides are, right? And seeing like what else can be used. We have a lot of agriculture people here. We have people who have a lot of knowledge. They should be at that meeting and get the information and then educate and have that conversation. I do agree with that. I don't want to did you hang up? Okay, looks like you hung up. All right, so yeah, so I do agree with that. The conversation is going to be had at the Rotary. I've just been made aware, February 16th, 6 p.m. Be there to find out the information. I do hope there's a way that I can tune in like virtually, because I will be out of the territory. But I would like to listen in on that as well. And I do appreciate everybody's passion. In the end, we all want the best for the territory, right? I think that's what that's what I'm hearing, and it's about how we go about that. All right, let's take this call. They're still there. Okay, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Good morning again, Nykole.
Good morning.
I am compelled to respond to your last caller.
Okay.
And I'm going to respond like this. What we proposing and could suggest to our government, our senators that is going to be voting on this bill, move the distillery. Yeah, could have a farmhouse and farm bar. They could put amendments in the law to allow that, and I maintain jobs. If you move the distilleries, it would be creating temporary jobs and permanent jobs. Robert Axel have enough money to go and buy a piece of land in I-2 or W-2, dismantle his distillery. You have to hire people to do that. You have to put it in a trailer that is not that large, maybe 1 or 2 trailers. Move it to this new property where you now have to hire people to put down a slab and put down whatever you need for the distillery. people are being hired. And then you're going to hire people now because you have to transport your sugar cane from there to the distillery. And he said it on the radio that juice is good for 5 to 6 hours. So once you put it in a truck and carry it to the distillery in its new location where they could go through the correct process that they didn't go through before, put in all the mitigations like Cruise and Rum have and Diageo have, and dispose of your waste, you are not losing not one job. You are creating, because of his tours and because it will be moved to a location, the taxi drivers now, they're going to force to use them. He's bought his little trolley. Instead of giving the taxi driver a little piece of the money, he bought his trolley and transporting the tourists them himself. Y'all ask this question, which is more important, our tourism industry, one individual that want to distill rum, and y'all who want to go there and dance and sing in the plantation that was ours in slavery, and I ain't even going to that, but who want to go there, is that more important than our tourist industry because he's polluting the beaches with that waste? Do your research. When you distill sugarcane juice, you get vinasse. It's a waste. For every 1 gallon that is cane juice that's distilled, you get 10 to 15 gallons of waste. That's why the water right down there today, from October 10th to February 3rd, is rust-colored, aridness. That is the waste that he waters the cane with. It's high in nutrients. Some plants survive in it, some don't. It's an overload of nutrients, an overload of oxygen, especially in the ocean. It kills the living organism. It's high in bacteria, threatening our tourism. And we're going to write to tourism. We're going to write to the cruise industry and let them know what's going on if they take and pass this bill. Again, you all are not losing any job. Move the distillery from there and don't allow them on agricultural land or residential. They are properties on the island that allow them. The W2 zone, the I2 zones. Let them spend the money and move it there. You know,
Okay.
He's bragging of his $18 million he spent, and he's an investor. He have money to easily move that, and y'all could go ahead and keep the farmhouse and keep the cane growing, but just stop polluting the island.
Okay, so what I hear you saying, okay,
What's happening in the States to here.
Got
It's
it.
a small island with coastal waters nearby,
okay,
and sugarcane waste is a toxic waste.
okay. So I got that information. I have another call.
Yeah.
I want to respond to what you're saying. Again, you were saying about February 16th, Rotary West, 6 p.m. Have the conversation then. What I understand is that you're saying keep the farming where it's happening down at Prosperity Farm, but just move the distillery because of all the waste from the cane
Thank
production.
You. That's all.
Okay, got
Thank
it.
you. What job gonna last?
Okay, got it.
What job will be last?
All right. Well, thank you
All right.
for calling
Thank
and
you.
tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Let's see if this call is still here. Okay, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
I am making it happen
You are.
by getting involved and staying engaged and being informed by you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys. You're informing me.
Good afternoon, Nykole.
Hi. Good morning.
Oh, it's morning time. I could hardly hear you. I could hardly hear you.
Okay, I don't know. Let me turn up the volume. You could hear that better?
Oh, well, I squeeze it into my brain, the phone, and see if I could hear you good. But
Okay.
listen, I'm so concerned about the aquifer. I mean, I thank the last caller, and she's so right because of the importance of that we put on tourism. You know, but the aquifer it has the potential to be contaminated too. I know she was focusing on one thing, but I'm focusing on the aquifer. And the fact that they have already tapped into the aquifer, you know, I don't know to what level they have gone to tap into the aquifer, but it definitely poses a problem to the ground table, Nykole. You know, this is why I think the young lady mentioned the land use plan. That I mean, you know how long we were fighting for that, Nykole? A long time. I think longer than you've been alive, Nykole.
Yes.
You look like about 18, 19.
18, 19. I have no idea. I think it was from the 70s or 60s.
Yeah, we've been fighting for this a long time, Nykole. So to have it here and to see that, you know, money now can cause people to go blind, act deaf and dumb, you know, we stand to potentially, you know, be impacted, Nykole. But the aquifer, a lot of people in the western side of Frederick said depend on the aquifer too. So it's not just the coastal, but the aquifer that we stand to have a problem with, potentially because of the toxin, the chemicals that are being used for that cultivation and production. So there's a lot to consider, but I would start with, you know, him moving the distillery, you know, and I think that's why the lawmaker did not want to have a public hearing because he thought he could slip it under the radar and nobody would know about it. But, you know, it shows up. The damage shows up later on. So thank God whoever found out about it and exposed it, you know. But Nykole, we can make a difference. I think we're making a difference. We want the betterment of St. Croix for the betterment of St. Croix. But come on, Nykole, let's do it right, eh? Let's do it the way you just do it. Let's make it right. Right?
Well, I'm definitely about making it happen.
I'm going to let somebody else get in if they can get in. But
yes.
I am looking forward to that meeting because my concern is the aquifer and the potential damage that can happen as the adverse use of those pesticides. Thank you again, Nykole. Take care.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
You too. And thanks for the call. Thanks for tuning in. And I do want to mention before I take the next call, I appreciate all the passion everybody has about this. And right, I want to summarize some things. So I'm understanding there's some contentions about this Prosperity Farm distillery possibly taking place, possible and licensing issues, and then also concern about the health of the weed, the killer, the chemical glyphosate being used that could be absorbed in the soil and affect us, and then the issues with the aquifer. I heard that there, wants to be that there's no issues with the farming being done there, but it seems like individuals might want the distillery to be moved so that it doesn't contaminate other aspects of the island. And I also understand that there is concern that whenever a project is here, there is resistance, right? And I have seen that. I have experienced it, and I've talked about it privately. From listening, remembering about I think Michael Jackson had something that wanted to happen here, and then other projects. So I always say we have so much land for nothing, and St. Thomas have no land for everything, right? And so I think we just have to come to a understanding and agreement of how we can move forward. Everybody wants prosperity, for lack of a better word, Prosperity Farm, but we want prosperity here in St. Croix. Now let's talk about how we're gonna make that happen, right? How are we going to do this in a healthy way, not jeopardizing our health? I understand we want a project here, but we also got to look at our health, right? What's the best way? So I'm all for projects being moved. Let's make sure it's done the right way. All right, hold on. You're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Pleasant good morning again. I'm glad you inspire conversation that still we're not all going to have the same opinion and perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
But facts can be verified. Now, I understand with this Prosperity Farm, it's not operating with all the licensure it needs. That's my understanding, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the government is trying to correct that. And the Commissioner of Planning and Natural Resources was on and he addressed some of those issues. But we need to listen to our side of the story.
I do agree.
And the ugly, and recognize that ultimately, I know I'm not getting into politics. I talk in process. The senators are the one that makes the laws, and they could amend the laws. So the law needs to be amended in order for the distillery to operate in the proper way. I'm all for that. Because if we stop everything like you said, we have the land, and St. Thomas doesn't. They would want everything, but we have to strike a balance too, because think about it. If every one of us just said we're not going to drive anymore because we're polluting the atmosphere, think about how life would be without planes, buses, trains, boats, because you have the exhaust, it's going into the air. So let's look at it from both sides, and don't put somebody down because they have a difference in opinion. We could come up with a solution. That's what I've been promoting. Be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And again, this conspiracy theory, there is no evidence presented because somebody gets the same number of votes.
Okay, I only have a short period of time. I have a short period of time now. I don't want to get into the voting machines because I only have a few minutes. Hi.
No, it just means the same people voted.
Yeah, I only have a few minutes, so I'm gonna move on because I don't want to go into the
I just wanted
to the machines again.
Reinforce that
Okay, thank you so much for your call.
Let's focus on positive and finding solution, not fighting each other, because we're not gonna always agree.
I do agree. Thank you. All right. This has been a robust conversation, and I have learned so much about Prosperity Farm. And Prosperity Farm has gotten a lot of promotion. So I'm gonna see if this is a call, and then I want to close with my thoughts that I had today. Let's see. You're on the air. Thanks for calling. Okay.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
I was trying to find out the office number.
Oh, okay. I don't have that on me right now. Hold on.
Huh?
Hold on. Okay, then I'll have to get back to them. All right, so I wanted to say thank you guys for calling today, tuning in. Very robust conversation. I hear everybody's sides. I do agree about going about things healthily, and going through the right process. Because we all should be held by the same standards in regards to how we conduct our business. And yeah, so let's have that conversation. Everybody be respectful about it. No name calling, those kind of things. Really, it's not needed. Let's stick to the facts. And it's happening, from what I understand, February 16th. That's Monday. I think that's a Monday. Next week. Let me confirm that. Let's see, 16th. Monday. Yeah. So that's next week, Monday, at the Rotary West, 6 p.m. For those all that called in, make sure you are there in person, have the conversation. Hopefully all the officials are there, and the right thing is done for the people long term, right? Okay, so what I wanted to talk about today, now I have 6 minutes, but I mentioned a couple things in the beginning. Let me go back to my notes because I got all over the place today. About our ancestors, I was telling our story. This is part of our story. Staying involved. That's great. Everybody's doing that. Make sure we're in the conversation. Make sure you show up to that town hall meeting. Something else I wanted to talk about was about how we respect each other, right? So that goes into just what I said about no name calling, to stick to the facts. Like, make sure that we stay cordial, like polite with each other. We can have different opinions, but ultimately we all want the same thing. What I wanted to talk about was about, in regards to our History Month, we talk about respecting other people, like other people having respect, or other ethnicities having respect for us and our culture, but do we have respect for each other? I guess point taken today in regards to like how we interact with each other, right? And I mentioned it last week very quickly, is that I always think, when I'm out in the store and I see different interactions, and I hear and I've experienced different interactions, it seems like, wait, sometimes they have better interaction with another ethnicity than our own. Is there something that needs to happen with some type of training? My mom told me, no, they know how to represent and interact with who they want. It might be somebody with status or another ethnicity, but everybody has an internal clock or internal barometer of who and how they interact with people. For me, I interact with everybody the same way. Nobody's up better than. I treat everybody as much as I can with the same respect that I want to be that I want to receive. But I see out there many times that, we have more patience for other ethnicities. I've noticed sometimes that we can be more patient, more polite, even more professional with other ethnicities. You fill in the blank of the ethnicities, than with our own. And this is not an attack; it is an observation. Respect shouldn't depend on who's standing in front of us. It shouldn't be based on our race, our status, or who we think have power. All right. In the Virgin Islands, we have our history that's rooted in resilience and pride, and how we speak to each other matters. We can have these conversations, but we can be respectful. And then this not just talking about this topic, we're talking about every topic across the board, or just interaction in the store. If you think somebody step on your toe, you don't have to pop off unless they step on your toe on purpose, and yeah, pop off, right? But if they did it by accident, come on, have a conversation. You don't have to be loud and boisterous and calling names and things like that. Because then what example are you setting and you telling other children, right? It's not an option. It's foundational how we interact with each other. So sometimes we're quicker to extend a courtesy to other ethnicities than to our own right here. And that's something we need to unpack. And this is not no blame, but I'm just expressing my observations with honesty. Respect doesn't start outside our community, it's inside. We got it. What it said, charity begins at home. This is what we have to do within. We're talking about Black history. What history are we maintaining and moving forward and moving forward? All right. So maybe it's a conditioning because with the whole movement, and I will never call our people slaves because they did not come from slaves. We were kings and queens, and they were kings and queens, and in Africa, they had tribalism, but they had hierarchy of they had the prestige in the countries. And then those individuals that stole them, kidnapped them, tried to break their spirits. And we still have a spirit of fighting here in the Caribbean, much different from some maybe in the States, right? So we still have that spirit, and we need to maintain the spirit and the love and camaraderie within our own people. So I know it may have came from conditioning, and maybe it's in the history, and maybe it's a habit. Whatever it is, we need to be aware of it, and we have the power to change it and improve the way that we treat and interact with each other. So respect shouldn't depend on who is standing in front of us. We should just want that, because at the end of the day, we all want respect, and it shouldn't change based on who is in front of us. It should be something maintained across the board, right? Something I wanted, so that was my thing about interactions, because I've seen many times that people, and I've experienced wait, you wouldn't talk to another person of another ethnicity like that? And wait, you wouldn't talk to a man like that? All right. So there's a lot of different hierarchies or different. I lost you guys online for a bit, so I do apologize about that. Hopefully, I don't know what part it dropped off online, but it looks like my internet dropped for some reason. But I will be back again in about 2 weeks. And for those online, I was talking about interacting with our ethnicities better, within our culture better. And then I was mentioning that the N word, I'm not an advocate or accepting of that word, the word. And I want to go into more details about it another time. I don't have the time to get into it. I did want to honor the conversation that people were having on their minds today, and the passion behind the possible issues surrounding the Prosperity Farm distillery and the chemicals that may be used. I think that, there's so many other ways that we could use other products. So I'm hoping that there's some kind of balance or agreement for another use of a weed killer. And everybody come together and come up with a solution. All right. I do agree that we need more projects here. And let's look at how we can make it happen and modify some other aspects of this project. All right. We can do that. I'm sure of it. So let's just stay positive, stay respectful, and keep open and to other possibilities, right? That we could still have this project happen, include the jobs, increase the tourism, and everything that everybody else wants, and make everybody, hopefully have some compromises, healthy compromises that is going to be in the benefit of our territory and everyone moving forward. But I do agree we do need some more projects. here in the territory. Okay, so thanks so much for tuning in with me on I'm Making It Happen. With exception, yours, Nykole Tyson. I'll be back again in a couple weeks, a week from now. So not next week, but the week after. And I hope to have a guest that we have planned. But if not, I am always open to having dialogue with you directly. All right. And so let us see. I do appreciate all the calls. And I appreciate the support of the I'm Making It Happen platform. Do check us out on YouTube. You can find us on I'm Making It Happen on YouTube. You can find all the videos, all the shows, radio shows on I'm Making It Happen. Sorry, on YouTube at I'm Making It Happen. Also the website I'mMakingItHappen.com, and then we're also on Facebook at I'm Making It Happen, and Instagram at I'm Making It Happen. The same logo you will see across the board. You'll know that that's us. All right. And if you send me a message, I do respond. So feel free to connect. For the individual, I did get your text, so I will be responding shortly. So we'll connect again in a couple weeks. If nobody told you today, you can make it happen. And you're making it happen by being involved in this conversation. But make sure you show up at that town hall meeting on the 16th, okay? Rotary West. And if there's a virtual aspect, please somebody send it to me. So if you don't see something happening, create it. Be the change. And until next time, keep thinking outside the box, coloring outside the lines. And remember, it's about you, me, we. So make it happen.